Hey guys, welcome to my next video, and today we're going to be analysing Huddersfield season and Leicester City season. The first player we're going to be analysing is Huddersfield's record buy, I think, and it is Aaron Boy, who's had a decent year this year. He got 4 goals and 3 assists, so that's decent for your first Premier League year. But not really, he'll just kind of stats the end of the year last, when they were in the Championship and they got promoted. The next player we're going to be looking at is Dean Mounier, who got 9 goals and 1 assist this year. So for a striker who's it's his first Premiership year and he has missed a few games, that's really good. He's been consistent for him. The next player is Terence Kongolo, who didn't score this year, but he's been there since January. And he's now been linked with a return, like the only player who has been linked with Huddersfield this summer, which is why we're going to go from the Huddersfield season review straight to Leicester season review, because there's literally no one who's been linked with Huddersfield this summer. But he had an alright second half of the season. Christopher Schindler, who's had a good season this year, he played quite a few games, he's been quite consistent for him, but not scored. The next player is Lauren DePoccia, who got 6 goals and 1 assist this year. So for a striker who's mainly been coming off the bench, that's pretty decent. The next player we're going to be looking at is Jonathan Hogg, who hasn't scored this year, but he's mainly been sitting in front of back 4 for him, allowing the better players to go and attack. No offence to him, but here they are, better players than him. The next player we're going to be looking at is Matthias Jørgensen, who also hasn't scored this year, but he's had quite a good year actually. In his first year in the Prem, he's been pretty solid for him. He dominated a few strikers, but also been dominated a few times, so you know, swings and roundabouts. The person we're going to be looking at is Jonas Lossell, who's had a good Premiership year, mainly highlighted by performance against Chelsea in like their second to last game, but he's been consistent for them this year, for the whole year really. Next player we're going to be looking at is their other January edition in Alec Pritchard, who's had a decent second half of the season. I think he got like 1 goal and 1 assist, I think. Yeah, 1 goal and 1 assist. That's pretty decent for a Premiership return. But you know, I think he'll get better next year, now that he's had a bit more experience in the league. Hadoujanai, I don't think he played that much. I can't think who else they would have played at the right back, but I don't think he played that much. Lowe was mainly playing at left back when Sean Maloney went fit, but he hasn't played a lot of games this year anyway. So, you know. Next we're going to be looking at Tom Ince, who's had a decent first Premiership year since returning. He got 3 goals and no assists, but he's still middle-aged, so he'll get better and better, and he was only just returning to the league, so you know, you can kind of accept it. Next player we're going to be looking at Tommy Smith, who I think has played quite a bit from this year at right back. He's had a decent year for him. Been pretty consistent really, but you know, not scored or assisted, so he'll probably get better next year as well. Rob Green has barely played. Next player we're going to be looking at is another one who played quite a few games this year for him, and that is Elias Kachunga. He played quite a few games from this year, been pretty consistent for him with 1 goal and 1 assist, but he's mainly been used for his pace really, I think. Yeah, he's got quite a bit of pace on him for a 25-year-old, so he's usually used to get past players. So, you know, he's had a decent year as well. Sean Maloney hasn't really played a lot. Danny Williams has mainly been used off the bench. He's only played 216 minutes. But he's mainly been used off the bench, so then he can kind of solidify it a bit. Heffler, I can't remember him barely playing. I wouldn't remember the striker who could also play centre back. Van La Parra has got 5 goals this year, so that's pretty consistent for a winger in his first year in the Premier. I think they recently got from Wolves, I think. But, Colin Quainer played a few games but never really got anything going. I think that's about it. But anyway, like I said earlier, there's been no real transfer link with Huddersfield. So I think it would be better if we just move straight on to Leicester rather than me scavenging the barrel for a good transfer rumour, which ain't going to happen really. But next we're going to be looking at Leicester's season. They had a decent year, finishing like 9th or 8th I think. They've had a decent year but nothing really superb like a few years ago, so pretty average. But if they can keep hold of their good players, they've got some really good players. First one we're going to be looking at is Riyad Mahrez, who scored 13 goals and 10 assists this year. That backs up the point of why he's wanted by Manchester City. He's their second top scorer this year. He's been more the kind of player he was in the title season this year. His form has been. He played nearly every game for him, apart from when he was having a bit of a tantrum about not getting to go to City, which I actually hope he does in the summer to make Leicester a bit worse. But, he's been pretty decent this year. Next, Leicester probably one of their top players of the season, behind Harry Maguire, really. And that is Jamie Vardy, who got 23 goals and 1 assist this year. Who, despite last year him having a bit of a dip, he did still score a few goals last year. And the second half of this year, which we've just had, has been really good for him, goal scoring wise. He scored a really good amount of goals, and it said something for England. But 2 of the top goal scorers are both English going into the World Cup. That is promising. Next player we're going to be looking at Kasper Schmeichel, who made some errors this year, but he has been Mr. Consistent for him, really. In goal, he's had some really good saves to make. He's had some really good games. Next player we're going to be looking at Adrian Silva. His famous transfer to Leicester finally got confirmed on January the 3rd. He didn't play until then because they couldn't register him, which is probably why he hasn't scored. But he's kind of been working his way into Leicester really. I think next year is when we will really see the best of him in a Leicester shirt. Next player we're going to be looking at is Vicente Iborra, who scored 3 goals this year, but was mainly used from the bench once Adrian Silva signed because he was due for Ndidi. But he's been decent this year for him. Seville were pretty silly to let him go really, considering they got into the Champions League. But he's been good for him. That player going to be looking at one of Leicester's best players in my mind, who doesn't get as much credit as he probably should, and that is Wilfred Ndidi, who I think on his day is a really talented player who can do a lot for Leicester. He can go past players, he can go at them, that kind of thing. That player we're going to be looking at is their player of the season in my mind, Harry Maguire, who's got 2 goals and 4 assists this year. So you'd say for a centre half that is pretty amazing. And considering he's also got himself into the England squad this year, and he's been considered as a starter for England, think how far away he was from that last year. He's had a really good year this year. Dragovic, who's played alongside him sometimes, but hasn't played as much as he probably would like, but Leicester still do want to buy him this summer, it's reported. Shinji Okazaki hasn't been as consistent this year as he had been last few years. But he's still got 7 goals and 3 assists this year. His best year was definitely when they won the league. That was a really good year for him up front. Next player we're going to be looking at Michael Brighton, whose season ended prematurely when he was sent off against Crystal Palace. Rightfully in my mind, because he went in high and with the heart. But anyway, he got 2 goals and 7 assists this year. With someone of his quality, you'd expect a bit better in terms of goals from him. Next player we're going to be looking at is Wes Morgan, who's been their big captain this year, who hasn't scored but has been quite a big, strong guy at the back for him, kind of the glue that holds their back four together. He's had a decent year. That player we're going to be looking at someone who kind of fell out of favour a bit, but I don't know how many chances he'll get at Leicester next year, because he did fall out of favour a bit towards the end of the season. He preferred Chilwell or Brighton and all that malarkey instead of him. That player we're going to be looking at is Kelechi Iheanacho, who I think is a really talented player. And I don't know if he's going to World Cup this year. I wouldn't have thought he is, considering his age. But, Nigeria might have picked him. He's got 8 goals and 4 assists this year, which for an 11 million signing is pretty good, really. I think he could be one for the future at Leicester. The next player we're going to be looking at is Demarai Gray, who is one of England's most talented players, who I would have liked to have seen in the squad this year. He got 4 goals and 2 assists, but I really would have liked to have seen him with the England squad this year. I think he's a really talented player. He can go at people, he can create, he can do everything really. He can also finish, considering he got 4 goals this year. Next player going to be looking at Daniel Amartey, who hasn't really lived up to his potential, but he's still got plenty of time. Danny Simpson is one who Leicester, who has kind of fallen out of favour a bit. He hasn't been as good. Certainly their new signing, who I'll go on to in a minute, will really fight him for a place in the team. Their player who's really played a few games for him is Ben Chilwell, who had a few games for him and done alright for him at left back. He's still very young, so don't judge him quite yet. The next person we're going to be looking at is Fouassi Diabate, got 2 goals this year. I think all of them were in the FA Cup against Sheffield United, I think it was, who he scored against. Who's meant to be one for the future really, and meant to be one who could replace Mahrez if he decides to leave. Right, so let's start off with the person who now confirmed he's joined Leicester when the window opened, and that is Ricardo Pereira from Porto, someone who I really do rate as a fullback, and I think could do wonders for him next year. Could just still Silvestri, I don't reckon he'll sign for him now, since they now got Pereira. Butland and Fabianski have been linked as backup. I think if they were going to be a backup, it would be better if it was Fabianski, but for quality wise, you'd go for Butland. Next, we're going to be looking at someone who's thought to be very close to move to Leicester, despite being linked with Arsenal and Man City last year, and that is Johnny Evans, who had a good year for West Brom, and now has a release clause of 3.5 million, I think, because they got relegated. Next, we're going to be looking at Marlon Santos, who I don't reckon they'll get, because they're looking at Dragovic permanently. I think they prefer Evans to him. Their backup centre-back, really, just in case Evans falls through or someone else buys him, would be Alfie Mawson in my mind, because I think he's a really talented player who played really well for Sunday last year. That player we're going to be looking at as a potential Mahrez replacement if he went, but with quite a bit less quality, and that is Oliver Burke, who's quite a good player. He's Scottish. He's former Nottingham Forest, I think. That's where he made his big name. But, he never really shone for West Brom. But I think he could if Leicester signed him. Next position we're looking at is centre midfield. They've been linked with Clucas, Allen and Gregor Ritzka. Gregor Ritzka is the one who I would sign for this position, because he looks so much better than Allen and Clucas. Clucas I don't think would let go. Swansea wouldn't let him go, and Joe Allen I don't think he's good enough, honestly. Another player who could replace Mahrez, who would be a bit more marquee than Oliver Burke, could be Xherdan Shaqiri. At Stoke, he's valued at 23 million on here, but would probably be valued about that in real life. And considering he's just been relegated, he might be willing. They've also been looking at strikers, Asman, Rondon and Rodriguez they've been linked with. If I was Leicester, I'd be going for Asman. Because he's younger, I think he's better, and he didn't get relegated last year. That can be the end of the video, guys. Thanks for watching. Tomorrow's video will be the season reviews of Liverpool, and Manchester City. So some of the better teams in the Premiership, really. And I will see you guys tomorrow.